Hello, my name is Mark David Shaw, and this is my political worldview. At my political worldview, I will be discussing various governmental philosophies and how they stack up against our constitutional republic. My first project will be to analyze a well-known book called Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. Why is political theory so important to all of us? To answer this in the most succinct manner that I can is to state that it merely distills down to one primary fundamental truth. Beliefs matter. Beliefs can do us harm, and beliefs can do us good. Behind every action, there is a belief that generated that action. It becomes abundantly obvious that a culture who is undermined with a false set of beliefs will oppress the innocent. This is why I am producing these videos. There has been a wholesale attempt to remove critical thinking skills from the American public. First and foremost among them is the often repeated statement, and I'm sure you've heard it, you cannot judge. This statement alone has done more damage to our culture than nearly anything I can think of. It has produced a culture that thinks their individual opinions are off limits and that these opinions can never be judged by anyone else. Any philosophy that seeks the freedom of critique should be feared. Now to the book, Rules for Radicals. Many of you are aware that it appears that the tactics found in this book have been employed by the radical left and have been effective in making conservatives appear to be something they are not. Before I study a person's writings, I study the person who is writing. I don't just need to know what they say, but why they are saying it. This allows for a critical analysis of their writing. Case in point is Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky's philosophy is utilitarianism. This system of belief states that whatever brings the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people is what should be employed. This belief also crosses into pragmatism. Let's look at the difference of these two philosophies. Whereas utilitarianism is the doctrine that the end of all action should be the greatest happiness of the greatest numbers, pragmatism stresses practical consequences as constituting the essential criterion in determining meaning, truth, or value. What is more frightening is where these two beliefs have a common thread. Both of these positions are not concerned with the morality of the issue. It might make me happy to have a new car, but stealing that car would be an immoral means to that end of happiness. What does all this mean? It means that a person who is a utilitarian or a pragmatist will likely believe that the particular means always justifies the particular end. Alinsky believes that those who do invoke moral conscience in the use of achieving an end are non-doers. Or as Saul Alinsky put it, quote, the means and end moralist or non-doers always wind up on their ends without any means, unquote. In other words, unless you check your morals at the door, you have no means available. This is absurd. When you remove morality as a driving factor, this is the type of belief system you wind up with. This is exactly what is wrong with the Democratic Party. They are employing these utilitarian and pragmatic methods upon all Americans. This is how it works. By making the most people happy, you get the most votes, which maintains your hold on power. Holding on to power is the real reason or end behind these methods. When one is not driven by a biblical moral compass, how are we then to believe that they morally care about the people? The utilitarian is conflicted because they speak in moral terms while denying their use. What if there is a large number of people who want affordable health care? What if another group of people want amnesty? You can see where I'm going. It matters nothing to the utilitarian that it is immoral to take from one group of people to provide for another group of people. This is what socialists do. It also matters not to the Democrat that it is immoral to reward people for breaking the law. This is what utilitarianism is producing. Those Democrats that engage in immoral processes to accomplish their goals are actually a strange breed of neo-utilitarians. These neo-utilitarians espouse an end that is divorced from their own reasoning. For instance, they claim that compassionate humanism is the end they are driving for in giving millions of illegal aliens amnesty. The truth, however, is that the end is to produce an environment where the Democrats will maintain their power in government by eliciting that particular group's votes. Perhaps others are unwilling to state the obvious, but I will. The Democrat Party is morally bankrupt. Saul Alinsky is, no doubt, a self-proclaimed socialist, and it is this book, Rules for Radicals, that seems to be the playbook being used in the Democratic Party. In Alinsky's own words, quote, "Rules for Radicals is written for the have-nots on how to take it away, with it being power." The good news is that, as a philosophy, utilitarianism is self-collapsing. What the Democrats seem to miss is that by trying to make the most happy, they are merely temporarily making them happy. As those unmovable rules of finance and human nature prove, one cannot make the majority happy by giving them something for free. As the consequence of their action kicks in, many others are made unhappy by those same actions. This is the precipice upon which we find current political sentiment. I was speaking to a college kid the other day who said, "I'm voting all Republican this time. I just can't get ahead." That is the consequence to neo-utilitarianism. It does not take into account that eventually the means do matter in how you achieve the end. Blessing always follows virtue. It always has been, always will be. Thank you for watching My Political Worldview.